Hello, it's Sarah Austin from Novata Translations. Today we are going to be looking at a very interesting topic: 5 things you need to know as a client when reaching out to a translator. Yes, I'm sure you're very excited and you want to find out what those things are. Okay, so the first one is that you need to expect questions and clarifications. There needs to be an active communication between the client and the translator. From the client's end, asking questions on cost, asking questions on the timeline, like the duration, how long the translation is going to last, and when they are going to be getting their work done. Also, if when the work is ready, if they are going to be getting it as a soft copy or they are going to be getting a physical copy, all those things needs to be put into consideration. So that's why an active communication is encouraged between a client and a translator. Also, a translator who is receiving from what I mean by receiving information from the client. The translator also needs to ask what language he or she would be translating into. The translator would also ask questions like the target language, that's the language the client would love it to be now, like translated into, and also the source language, the original language of the document, and how the client would also prefer to get the document, if the client would prefer a soft copy or the client would prefer a hard copy. And most times why they need to even get a hard copy is if the document will be notarized or if the document will be legalized. So when there is an active communication between the client and the translator, all these questions would be answered. And also why an active communication is encouraged is that this would reduce error. It will reduce error, it will boost accuracy, because all the informations that are needed are already gotten from the questions and answer session between the client and the translator. So this would boost the morale of the translator, and also at the other hand give the client confidence that, oh yes, their work this would boost the morale of the translator and enable him to get an accurate job done. Yes, so another thing you need to know is machine translation, that's MT, is just a tool. It cannot be a replacement for a translator. So you can't compare a machine translation and a translator. The work you're going to be getting from a machine translation and the work you would get from a human translator, they are totally different. So so you get precision and accuracy from a human translator, because human translators keeps in mind the meaning, the tone, and the context of your message or the document you'll be translating, unlike the MT that will just give you the peripheral of what you're talking about. It won't go in depth, meeting up with cultural customs, meeting up with the expectations in the society regarding that target language. Also, when you depend too much on MT tools for translation, this could cause you costly errors. It could cost you costly errors, things that you'd end up paying more, or you'd end up either with a lawsuit or with paying of fines. Yes, so another interesting reason is to respect the process and timeline. Most times, clients are always impatient regarding this. Once they have, reached out to the translator or a translating company like ours, they always want their job, done very fast. They want to get fast results, forgetting that there is process to everything. They don't want to follow or wait for the process, so they just want their job done very, very fast. So so for example, imagine a client reaching out with a very large volume of documents and expecting to get those documents maybe the next day or just few days or 2 days after. When there is a rush or a pressure, from the client's hand to the translator, this would kill the morale of the translator and would even lower the rate of accuracy that translator or the translator is supposed to put into the job. So clients, please wait for the due time that your document is to be ready. Wait for the time that the translator has allocated for your document to be ready, so that you can get accuracy, you can get precision and better results. So another thing you need to know is budget accordingly for quality. Every translation for every language you have to be translating into comes with its cost. Every language you'll be translating into comes with its cost, and every type of translation you are requesting for from the translator, comes with its cost as well. You can't compare a certified translation to a sworn translation. The cost, is not the same at any point. It's not the same at all. Let's say you are translating, from Russian to Polish or from Russian to English. The first one, when you're translating from Russian to Polish, you'd have to first translate the document, from Russian to English, enabling the translator to understand, the process and everything that translation would require. Then from English, translating it into Polish. So the cost of a document translation from Russian to Polish is not the same as a Russian translation from Russian to English. There are processes, to these things. So you can't just assume that, oh, you are translating from Russian to this, so this has to be, the amount you need to pay and all of that. Yes, so lastly, the last thing you need to know is that provide feedback and build a relationship. So when there is an active communication between the client and the translator, this will build a relationship, a strong relationship between the client and the translator. And once a strong relationship is built, this would also, help referrals, would bring referrals. It will, bring, when there is a strong relationship between the client and the translator, this is just saying that the client's satisfaction, has been met. So this would even trigger the client to bring more people, for the translators and increase the rate of translation. Yes, so this would bring us to the end of our discussion. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you for listening. Yes, before I go, please don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to drop your comments in the comment box below. And also don't forget to click on the notification button so that you can get updated once there's a new video. So until next time, bye.